This is part 2 you're watching. If you haven't watched part 1, what are you waiting for? But if you did watch it, let's continue with the people on the after Tommy period. Also, some people we are going to talk about will have longer records than others, so might as well get yourselves something to comfort you, and we'll get into it. Tommy. Tommy is the first minor SMP member of the Dream SMP. Although much like the people from the first part, he was part of the Dream SMP from the start, but he acted more independently from it. And after Wilbur founded a country called Lamamberg, Tommy, along with his right-hand man Tubbo, and also with Fundy and Eret, joined Lamamberg for a while, and after the War for Independence, was fully part of Lamamberg as vice president, and he then left the Dream SMP, but was soon exiled and kicked out of it by JSchlatt after the election, along with Wilbur, this time formed Poctopia. And after the War of Mamberg, he was part of Lamamberg again, but without Wilbur, and soon was forced to exile again, this time by Tubbo and some pressure from Dream. Whilst in exile, he, along with Ghostbird, formed Loxodshire, but after it was destroyed, he flees to Technoblade, and soon became part of the Arctic Anarchist Commune for a while, before betraying Techno to join Lamamberg again for the final time in its defense. And after the Doomsday War, in which Lamamberg is destroyed, Tommy wasn't part of any nations ever since and was still to this day. Not only that, Tommy also joined a lot of alliances, including the Greater Dream SMP Poctopia Pack, the Poctopia Badlands Pack, the Pocback Army, Bedrock Boys, the Lamamberg Doomsday Defense Force, and the Plan to Kill Dream Alliance. Tubbo. Tubbo is the second minor SMP member of the Dream SMP. Much like Tommy, he was part of the Greater Dream SMP, but was more independent, joined the Lamamberg when it is founded by Wilbur, and left the Greater Dream SMP, but was still part of Lamamberg when Wilbur and Tommy were exiled and Lamamberg became Mamberg. Tubbo joined Poctopia following his execution in the Mamberg Festival, and after the War of Mamberg, he helped reform Mamberg back to Lamamberg, and was part of it again with Tommy, but forced Tommy to exile later. And after that mess, Tubbo became part of El Rapids when Quackity integrated his nation into Lamamberg. Tubbo continued to be the president of Lamamberg along with his new friend Rambu until Lamamberg's doom in the Doomsday War. After Lamamberg is destroyed, Tubbo flees his destroyed nation to a snowy island a few chunks away from the mainland, and founded Snowchester. And following the final disconfrontation, he declared Snowchester an independent country and was part of it ever since. Tubbo, much like Tommy, also joined a number of alliances, including the Pocback Army, Lamamberg Doomsday Defense Force, and the Plan to Kill Dream Alliance. Fundy. Fundy is the first SMP member of the Dream SMP who is not from a native English-speaking country. Along with some future members, Fundy did not start off joining the Great Dream SMP when he joined the server, but act independently. But when Wilbur founded and created Lamamberg, Fundy joined Lamamberg and was part of it even after the election, when Mamberg is formed out of it. And soon he joined Poctopia in the war against JSchlatt's tyrannical nation, and after the war, Fundy is part of Lamamberg again. Whilst doing so, along with Nikki Niichu, formed Dry Waters, but it did not materialize well. After the destruction of Lamamberg, Fundy is left not being part of any nation until Las Nevadas is formed, in which Quackity encourages Fundy to join him to change things up, which Fundy's past self has not at all. And today, Fundy is part of Las Nevadas. Despite being part of the lore fairly a lot, Fundy surprisingly didn't join many alliances, including only the Pocback Army and the Side to End All Sides Alliance. Punz. Punz, as someone who I really like, joined the Dream SMP much like Dream and was part of the Greater Dream SMP ever since he joined and still was to this day. Whilst doing so, he became also part of El Rapids, but along with everyone who is part of El Rapids except Quackity, abandoned it. And after Dream is imprisoned, he becomes the de facto leader of the Great Dream SMP. But in the meantime, he co-founded the Eggpire and was first part of it for the Chaos, but was fully part of it when he was corrupted and was still part of it to this day. Punz also joined a lot of alliances besides the Eggpire, including the Great Dream SMP Poctopia Pack, the Mamberg Defense Force, Team Chaos, the Lamamberg Doomsday Defense Force, and the Freedom Coalition. Purpled. Purple, along with Tubbo, Fundy, and Punz, joined the Dream SMP on the same day. Along with Punz, he was part of the Dream SMP when he joined the server, but then wasn't very active in the server, but was soon briefly part of Manberg in his war with Poctopia and the Badlands, but then switched to Poctopia briefly when he saw where the wind is blowing. But then again, he wasn't very active in the server, and when he was made a mercenary of the Empire briefly before, along with Technoblade and Quackity, crashed the wreck banquet and sent the Empire's members on the run. And after that, Quackity encouraged Purple to join his new nation Las Nevadas to make Purple's legacy greater. Purple considered it first, and only joined for his own benefit. As Purple wasn't very active in some of Dream SMP's big events, he didn't join any alliances besides the Empire briefly. Wilbur, a son of Fields of Minecraft, joined the Dream SMP. Wilbur, much like his son Fundy, didn't join the Great Dream SMP when he joined the server, but along with Tommy, founded and created Manberg. Wilbur was part of Manberg ever since he founded it, until he and Tommy were exiled by JSchlatt. While in exile, he and Tommy founded Poctopia, and after the Poctopia vs Manberg war, he was killed and was stuck in the afterlife until Dream killed Ghostbird and resurged him. And right now, he is neutral, but considered in joining Las Nevadas, Quackity's new nation. As Wilbur wasn't canonically alive for half the Dream SMP's existence, he didn't join a lot of alliances, only including the Pogback army. JSchlatt, much like Wilbur, wasn't part of the Great Dream SMP when he joined the server because he was invited to the server without Dream's approval and was soon banned, but came back later on and this time joined Manberg during the elections, and soon after winning the election became the so-called Emperor, and Manberg was formed with him as president. JSchlatt continued to be part of Manberg until he died of a heart attack and was stuck in the afterlife ever since. JSchlatt also joined some alliances while he was still alive, including the JSchlatt 2020 Political Coalition, the Great Dream SMP Manberg Pack, and the Manberg Defense Force. Skeppy, much like his longtime friend Bad Boy Halo, joined the Great Dream SMP when he joined the server, but then wasn't very active. But when he was, Bad encouraged Skeppy to join his new nation called the Badlands, and Skeppy joined it and left the Great Dream SMP. And afterwards, to this day, Skeppy continued to switch back and forth between either being neutral or being part of the Badlands. Whilst doing so, was accidentally corrupted by the egg and forcing Bad to join him, in which led to Bad forming the Empire and both of them being part of it, but at the same time, Skeppy not being part of it. While still active on the server, Skeppy also joined some alliances besides the Empire, including the Poctopia Badlands Pack, the Pogback Army, and Team Chaos. Eret, as someone who is very chaotic neutral, joined the server as part of the Great Dream SMP, but then was part of Wilbur's new nation Manberg before betraying it and joined back the Great Dream SMP, as he was made king of the SMP, but then was kicked from his position when he decided to fight along with Poctopia and being part of it, even though most of his nation was fighting with Manberg, and was soon replaced by George as king. After fighting with Poctopia against Manberg, Eret was soon part of the Great Dream SMP again, but not as king, before Dream remaking him as king after seeing George is getting attacked by multiple parties, and Eret was still king to this day. And after Snowchester is created, he became ambassador to it. While Eret was betraying everyone along the way, he has also joined a lot of alliances, including the Pogback Army, the Freedom Coalition, and was briefly part of the Manberg Doomsday Defense Force and Pro-Omelette.